Today we're diving into bedroom design mistakes. There are 8 things I absolutely wouldn't do if I wanted my bedroom to be comfortable and stylish. From harsh downlights to misplaced power outlets, these are the mistakes you need to avoid and how to fix them. Don't rely on downlights above your bed. Now you've probably heard this advice so many times now, especially if you've watched any of my videos before. I probably sound like a broken record by now, but out of any interior design advice, this is the one to follow because if you only rely on downlights, the lighting in your bedroom will be way too harsh, which will make it more difficult to fall asleep at night, and it will be super jarring when you turn it on in the morning. So if you want a nice calming atmosphere, focus on your ambient lighting. This means putting in table lamps or wall sconces with shades that gently diffuse light. Things like fabric shades and opaque glass shades are a good starting point. If you like to read before bed, a directional lamp can also be a nice addition. And make sure you have the correct color temperature bulbs. Anything under 3000 Kelvin is perfect for the bedroom as they emit a nice warm and golden yellow light. If you really like home tech like me, you may even consider getting smart LED bulbs that let you adjust the color temperature and brightness throughout the day. Whatever you choose, make sure you get all your bulbs in the bedroom from the same brand. Otherwise, it will be quite jarring to have lights in 2 different colors in such a small room. LED light strips can also be a nice addition to your bedroom, but the key to this is to diffuse them. You shouldn't be seeing the individual LED dots. Behind a headboard is usually a great place for it, but I find that it only works well if the headboard is a hard surface like timber. Whatever you do, try to steer clear from furniture sets, that is having the bed and storage units all in the same design and materials. And yes, when I say this, it also applies to buying the same IKEA line. A hemness bed plus a hemness dresser, or a mom bed plus a mom bedside table and a mom dresser is technically a furniture set. This is possibly the worst bedroom decorating mistakes, and it makes it really hard to make your bedroom look nice when you have this as the base. A room always looks best when there's a combination of textures at play. You want a combination of hard and soft textures, smooth and rough, and so on. Ideally, you also want a little variation in shapes, so not everything is boxy and rectangular. You can check out my video on textures after this one if you want to dive deeper into this. Now the easiest way to achieve this is to mix and match. So select the bed frame in one material or color, the bedside table in another, the dresser in another, and the armchair in another. Often you might have the bed frame and tables in the same material, but you can still make it look interesting by having slightly different shapes. The point is to have variations, because a bedroom where a bed, table, and dressers are all the same is never going to look as successful as one where there's a variety of textures. I dive deep into the art of mixing textures and colors in chapters 2 and 4 of my practical home design course. It is packed with practical tips to help you create a cohesive, polished look in any room. If you're not sure what a double ensemble bed is, they're the ones that have a box space where the mattress sits directly on top. I personally wouldn't choose one of these, mainly because they're so hard to clean underneath. If you've ever seen one, you'd realize that the base is always raised up on these little legs, which is a good thing for breathability. But this little gap becomes a massive dust collecting area. And the fact that it is raised only a little bit off the ground means that you can't get a vacuum cleaner under there to clean it. You have to move the whole bed, which is such a hassle. I also think that they're not the most aesthetically pleasing bed frame options out there. They all look really bulky and the base doesn't offer any added functionality. Personally, I prefer a frame to floor bed base if this is what you're going for, as you have many more options in terms of looks and design. Plus, it is also much easier to clean, and if you need extra space, there are options with built-in storage drawers or have guest lift storage. Otherwise, if you have a smaller bedroom, a bed frame that has legs will make it so much easier to clean and will also help make your bedroom look more airy and spacious. And you also have the option to store things under it. Now the key with the bed frame is quality. Cheaper slats like pine tend to squeak and don't provide a good support. Plus, it can break if you're someone who gets naughty in bed. I always go for solid wood and make sure that these slats don't move or bend. If you're on a budget, metal frames are a great option. There's tons of great places to shop for bed frames, and if you're unsure where to shop, be sure to check out our mega shopping list, where we have curated over 350 stores from big box to small independent makers, many of which are used by leading global designers for their own projects. I've seen so many homes that only have one single duplex outlet for both sides of the bed. This is so far from enough, as one side of the bed will not have any access to power at all. I've noticed that this has become really common for builder-grade homes because developers are trying to cut costs. But if you have any say in the design of your home, ask for more outlets if you can. Now, the standard is a duplex outlet on either side of the bed, but I'll even argue that this isn't enough. It is a bit of an outdated concept these days, as people used to only have a lamp and maybe a clock on their nightstands. But nowadays, people have all kinds of gadgets like a phone or Kindle, or maybe even an electric blanket. All these things need outlets or at least a USB socket to charge. I personally don't bring any devices into my bedroom besides a Kindle. But if you do, consider installing a quad outlet, or perhaps an outlet with a USB socket so you have the option of charging your phone while using the other sockets for other things. I know that many outlets are quite bland looking or even ugly. But we're all lucky that we live today where there are beautifully designed outlets that aren't your typical white box, which means you can make them part of your bedroom design and have them in very convenient locations without them being an eyesore. Like this outlet that has a curved silhouette and matte finish, which perfectly complements the calm design language of this contemporary home. Or this one, they've done in matte black with 2 USB outlets that matches perfectly with the bedside lamp. It is not just power outlets. You can also get nicer light switches and dimmers beside your bed, like this brass one that complements the brass hardware throughout the room. Also, don't make the mistake of not planning your bedroom layout and then ending up with outlets in awkward locations, like behind your bed. Now, normally furniture is a great way to hide an ugly power outlet, but in this case, it is way too difficult to use if it is behind your bed head. So, if you're about to renovate, make sure you consider the size of your bed and add a few inches to account for your bed frame and nightstand arrangement. That said, if you're in a rental or it is now too late, look into the twin head double extension cord. They typically have a flat head designed to go behind a sofa or bed. A regular flat head extension also works well in this case. The walk-in wardrobe. The dream for many of us. But before you get lost in visions of endless racks of shoes and color-coded clothing, let me burst that bubble of yours. The truth is, having a walk-in wardrobe requires a lot more space than you might think. I've seen so many new built homes with a tiny square walk-in wardrobe tucked into the corner of the room, and that is not pleasant to use, nor is it a good use of space. Tiny walk-ins have too many angles, which are essentially dead space, not to mention how much space the door takes, especially if they swing in and out. To really make a walk-in work, you'll need an area nearly the size of your bedroom or even bigger. They're inherently inefficient, so only do this if you have the space to do so. So, what do you do instead? Opt for a standard wardrobe along your bedroom wall. It may sound boring, but it'll be a much better use of space. My small piece of advice is to install your wardrobe along the shorter wall of your room, rather than the longer one. This will keep your room nice and square in shape, which is easier to decorate. If you put it on the longer wall, you'll end up with a space that feels much more like a runway. It'll be way too rectangular in shape, which is much more difficult to decorate. Ill-fitting bedding is the ultimate faux pas when it comes to bedroom design. It's like trying to wear clothes that are 3 sizes too small or too large. It just doesn't work. If your sheets are too loose, they'll bunch up at night and turn your sleep into a wrestling match. But if they're too tight, they'll feel uncomfortable and restrictive. This is especially the case for fitted sheets, so double check that you've selected the right size. Make sure to also get sheets with generous pocket depth, so it fits your mattress, as they come in so many different depths nowadays. Now, while we're on the topic of bedding, I'll also be cautious of the material and how you style them. Designers and magazines often make you think that a beautiful bedroom has to be layered with quilts and throws and heaps of pillows. But reality is that it is not always practical. It is okay to have a more simple setup, even more so if you live in a warmer climate, because you probably only need a single breathable layer. What is more important is to make sure that it fits your lifestyle. Let's talk about naked windows. Sure, those unadorned windows let in all the glorious natural light, making your space feel airy and expansive. But in a bedroom, you need to be able to control the light and also privacy if you live in a city. Now, my number one tip for bedroom window treatments is to go for 2 layers where possible. One layer should be light filtering for those dreamy mornings when you want to wake up gently, and the other should be a room darkening or blackout option for when you need to sleep into the day. This can be a combo of sheer and blockout curtain, or a sheer curtain with blockout roller blinds or Roman blinds, and if you hate curtains, it could just be Roman blinds or even shutters. As for the type of window treatments to choose, it really comes down to your personal situation and preferences. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I've made a whole beginner's guide video on window treatments. It covers everything from traditional curtains to Roman blinds to shutters, shades, and more. When it comes to bedroom design, scale matters a lot. Imagine a tiny bedside table next to a massive king-size bed, or an oversized bedside table next to a petite double bed. It just doesn't work. But scale is not just about size, it is also about height. Your bedside table should ideally be at a comfortable height so you don't have to perform acrobatics just to grab your book or phone in the middle of the night. A table that is too tall will turn your night into an awkward stretch routine. The only real exception is using a small dresser or desk as a bedside table. And let's not forget about what's actually on the table. Placing a giant lamp on a small table is like putting a boulder on a teetering stack of cards. Totally off. Instead, go for proportionate decor that complements your table size so it all feels cohesive. Getting all the scales right and achieving balance in your bedroom is not just about making your space more visually appealing, it also makes it more functional. So choose all your decor and furniture wisely and keep those proportions all in check. If you're struggling with this, check out our Secrets to a Beautiful Home guide, which you can download for free. Inside, you'll find 9 expert secrets, an easy to follow decorating checklist, and tips to avoid the most common design mistakes. So those are the 8 things I absolutely wouldn't do in my bedroom. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on how to elevate your bedroom, and this video on how to make your bedroom cozy. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.